Ladies and gentlemen, my name is FLyby. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So today we're doing something a little bit different from the regular Let's Plays, and if I like the way this pans out, and you guys like the way this pans out, then this is probably what we're going to be doing here from now on. A bit of a more edited Let's Play format. And what we're doing today is we are going off to Minimus. But first, we gotta make a small stop on the Mun, because, well, Bob's still there. So we gotta go get Bob. We gotta hope that Jeb doesn't crash the spaceship again. It's totally Jeb's fault, by the way. I had nothing to do with it. It's all Jeb's fault. So anyway, we're getting up there. This actually took like close to an hour and 15 minutes in terms of actual gameplay, so I am speeding this up. I am editing what I think I can cut out. There's probably still too much stuff in here, but I'm just running the sucker at like ×4 and ×2 depending on what's going on, because well, this is kind of stuff we've seen before, guys, so I kind of want to get through this as quickly as I can for you. So we're just heading up into orbit here. We've jettisoned our stages. I put parachutes on those. I realized after I launched, those actually are not going to do anything. The parachutes are never going to deploy. Just clearing out a mission milestone there. And we're getting close to our apoapsis, so we're just burning up a little. We're burning prograde a little bit, I should say. We're burning above the horizon to push off our apoapsis so we don't start falling. And we've got just about circularized right here. And also our that booster stage here is nearly done on fuel, so we're just getting our maneuver nodes set up for the Mun encounter. And we have just tiny bit, like 300 meters per second delta V left in the booster there, and after that we will be using the lander as our for thrust. So what we're doing with the lander here, and you guys will see in a second, is we're just using the outer 4 engines there. We do have an inner 5th engine. What I'm planning on doing with this is just using those 4 engines to start off with. We're taking it to the Mun. So we're using that, of course, for the burn. We're using it for descent to the Mun. For ascent, as much as we can get. But ultimately, we'll probably have to jettison those at some point and then just use the central fuel tank and the central single engine for the rest of it. So we're just getting on over to the Mun right here. We're within its gravity, and small problem, we're going to crash. Yeah, we're... It may be hard to see right there. There, you can see it right there. I'm doing some maneuvers here, just trying to figure out how I can get my orbital path to not go through the surface of the Mun. So that's what I'm doing right there. And then we just have to change the inclination of our orbit so that we can orbit over Bob and the Munbus Mark 1 wreck. So that, of course, we can land within a reasonable distance, within like 1 kilometer or 2 of Bob, possibly less, and then rescue him. Another problem, Bob's currently on the dark side of the moon. It's currently nighttime over there, so yeah, that's going to be interesting. And right now I'm just playing around with maneuver nodes. Perhaps I could have edited this out, but I decided to just speed through it as best I can. What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at just how much delta V it's actually going to take. And what I actually just decide to do is I just decide to time warp this sucker and just let them chill orbiting the Mun for a few days until Bob's ship there, Bob's wreck, rotates with the Mun till it's underneath our orbital path. So there we're doing it right there. Just seeing if it'll work, and yes, it will work. So we're just gonna keep on doing that. And once we've got Bob as our target here, so we're just doing a small maneuver node tweak there. Just a few, yeah, less than 100 meters per second delta V correction. I can't really see it in the editor, my apologies. And yeah, I guess that was 80 then. So 80 meters per second delta V correction. And also a maneuver to deorbit us in the process. So I think at this point we just go ahead and we time warp down. Yeah, we're just going to time warp until we get a little bit closer to the ground. We got our landing legs deployed, and what's our impact zone here? I seem to remember that it's in this oddly shaped crater that looks suspiciously like a butt. Just like this one, except this one, yeah, it looks a little bit more like a butt. So right now we're trying to kill our horizontal velocity, and if we do everything correctly, we will end up directly in the middle of that crater, which we actually do not want to do, because that's not going to be a very, in my opinion, that's not going to be a very level landing field. So what I would like to do is land just beside the crater right next to Bob's ship as close as we can. So right now we're actually just doing a little bit of correction here. Burning down towards the ground. And we're actually just going to go in the same direction and try to burn above the horizon. Yeah, so we've got Bob set as our target right there. And we're just going to roughly burn in the same general direction, but skyward. And yeah, and as you can see, that's just pushing our descent trajectory just a little bit over the ridge of that crater, just enough, just where we want to go. And now we need to kill the horizontal velocity there and the vertical velocity. And we also need to make sure that, this is very important, guys. You need to make sure that you have your readout there on the nav ball set to surface, not to target, because the Mun is moving ever so slightly underneath you. So it's moving at like, say, half a meter per second or 1 meter per second, but it is enough to mess with your landing. So, especially if you're using Kerbal Engineer, and also for the nav ball itself, it's going to tell you that you're not level, which is actually not true just because the Mun is moving and your target is moving because it's on the Mun. And there we go, we've landed. And it's time to pick up Bob. So yeah, make sure it's set to surface, not to your target, because otherwise you will flip over and land sideways like I did the first time, and you don't really want that. So, it's time to get Bob. Right, Bob? Let's go, let's go. You're just gonna slide off there? Okay. Alright. So it is, a kilometer or two away, so we're gonna just go ahead and fire up the old jetpacks and fly on over there. Bob is a very good flyer, very good pilot. He may be a scientist, but he's an excellent pilot. He knows exactly how to maneuver his jetpack on this easy EVA. It's trivial. He's gonna land there perfect, no problem whatsoever. Oh. Don't worry, Bob. Don't worry. Your face will slow you down. There you go. And there he is. Bob's just fine. So let's lift him up again and get him over to the door. Come on, Bob. Nope, too far. Just a little to the left. And there we go. Perfect. Okay. Third time's the charm. Come on, Bob. In you go. Very good. All right. And he's just trying to grab science. And there we go. And Bob's in the pilot seat. So, let's go ahead and take off. We got Jeb in the passenger compartment. He can do all the maneuver plotting, right? Well, it so far seems that it's fine, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to burn off whatever fuel we've got left in these 4 outer boosters here. And then we'll jettison those once we're done. And we're just getting ourselves up to a decent apoapsis. There we go. So we're just going to warp on up. and then we'll circularize. And getting off the moon, as you guys know, I'm sure, is trivial compared to getting off of Kerbal. And... are we at the correct point yet? Yeah, there we go. So we're just gonna go ahead and fire our circularization burn up. There we go, we're good. And now we're gonna fiddle around with maneuver nodes a bit more and see if we can grab ourselves a Minimus encounter. Today we're just doing like a straight up Minimus encounter. We're not doing anything fancy. We're not gonna go into orbit. We're just gonna do a flyby. We're gonna grab some signs and we're gonna head home. And then after that, we've got something a little bit more ambitious planned for the next episode, guys. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to do this, trying to cut this down instead of making it 2 to 3 episodes. Just want to make it the one. Because next time, we're going to do something a little bit more ambitious. I'll just put it that way, and you guys will just have to wait and see what that is. So, anyway, we're going to do a hard circularization burn here so that we can go ahead and get a proper Minimus encounter. And now we're just mucking around with maneuver nodes, trying to find a good spot. There we go! We've got a flyby, we've got an encounter, and we already adjusted those boosters, so it's just the inside stage there, the final stage. And off we go. And looks like we need to do a little bit of corrections. This is fairly common. Actually, we're way off, yo. And at this point, I'm actually running into, randomly enough, I'm running into issues with making maneuvers. Now the game has decided that it doesn't like Bob being in the pilot seat. So, what we are going to do is we're going to have Mr. Jebediah Kerbal. He's going to go ahead and he's going to transfer into the command module seat, and then he's going to do his own EVA so that Bob can play musical chairs. And Bob's going to get back in, get into the command seat, and then get into the back with Bill there. And then Jeb's going to fly the thing for the rest of the mission. So that's just what we're doing right there. It's one of those peculiar little things where the game had no problem with it for the first little bit, but then all of a sudden it's like, no, wait a second, you don't have a pilot in the pilot seat. And right now we're just mucking around with maneuver nodes again, trying to get that flyby, and we have it, so we're going to warp to that maneuver. And a very tiny little burn, just a touch. It's one of those burns where literally if you have RCS maneuvering thrusters, you could actually screw it up and either, yeah, you could screw up that burn with RCS, or you could complete the burn with RCS. Anyway, there we go. We're just doing yet another correction, it looks like, and we're good. No more mucking around, so let's warp on by. And yeah, there we are. I believe we are right next to Minimus right here, just about. Not quite. Got a little bit ways to go yet now, so there we go. Now we're just completing our flyby, and there it is. The wonderful, it's like a captured comet, really, is I think what the game is saying. That, and it looks suspiciously like ice cream. Delicious, delicious frozen ice cream. So anyway, we're just grabbing our science right now. We'll let Jeb go ahead and do that. So Jeb's grabbing everything he can, and at this point we're just heading back to Kerbal here and spinning out of control. So Jeb's getting back in there. Now Jeb's going to go ahead and grab everything we need. We've got our Science Junior on the service module section here, so that's going to be jettisoned. So we're just going to grab all the data and we're going to store it in the command module. And we're going to go ahead and grab everything else from the outside just in case, because re-entry can be a treacherous business. And And there we go. We're good to go. We're going to go ahead and finalize... we've got loads and loads of fuel left. We actually overbuilt this thing a fair bit. If I had put some landing legs on here, it's possible we could have even landed on Minimus as well. And we're going to try to land as close as we can to KSP. So now we're just getting an elliptical orbit, and we'll try to burn at the periapsis to get something a bit more circularized. We're not going to try anything like aerobraking this time around. I don't think I have a big enough heat shield for that, and I also want to be able to... I also have way too much fuel, and I don't want to piss it all away by dumping the service module and then having to rely upon multiple re-entries. And right now we're just waiting patiently for KSP to get to a convenient spot in the daytime. And we've more or less gotten there, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to activate our final burn. And this will deorbit us, and this should get us not even close to KSP. Awesome. Well, apart from that, we're doing good. We've got lots of fuel. We can slow our descent with ease. We'll hit the atmosphere at a gentle 2,000 meters per second or so. And, yeah, I think at this point we finally blew through all the fuel. We've jettisoned our service module. And it's time to go in. And once again, I'm doing this at, I'm doing this one at ×2 here, guys. So, down we go. And your batteries may explode. Those probably should have been put on the service module. I'm trying to dissipate the heat right now by spinning. That's having... well, that turned out exactly how you saw. And the batteries continue to explode. The parachutes are fine, though. Everything's good. Really, everything's good. And we're heading in... nose first. That actually went surprisingly well. The parachutes all survived. Just the batteries that blew up. And we are getting a little bit close-ish to the ground. There we go. We've got our parachutes deployed. And they... yep, they're fully deployed now, so we're less than 1,000 feet above the ground. And yeah, we're just time warping, and we've also got this on ×2 speed to just get ourselves to the ground nice and safely. And we're doing the classic EVA in the lower atmosphere while the ship is coming in. Because why not? Let's get a little bit of science at the possible expense of Jeb's life. Why not? So... that's pretty much going to do it. We're just coming in for our landing there. There we go. Everybody's safe. Gonna bring out Jeb. Gonna do a EVA report, and Jeb's gonna land on his head. And he's gonna grab some dirt for the lab, because why not? We haven't landed in this biome before. And they don't think that they're gonna get much science, and surprise, surprise, the monopropellant jetpacks don't work. So anyway, we recovered Jeb. We're going to go back to the Space Bus Mark III. We're going to go ahead and pick it up as well. And that's going to just about finish things off, guys. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. That concludes this particular episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the new format. I'm enjoying this so far, although it's a hell of a lot of work compared to a regular Let's Play. So, that's going to do it for now. Next time, you'll get to see my ambitious plans. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please turn in for the next one. I think you're going to enjoy it quite a bit. My name's been FLyby. Please subscribe if you like this video and you want to see more, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!